Hello and welcome to the next video, my MSI 2022 preview. We're covering EG, Evil Geniuses. If you haven't watched my videos throughout this process, I've covered every team from 11th through 3rd, being Evil Geniuses. I still have RNG and T1 to do. If you missed my other videos, go back through them. They're on my channel. I did similar breakdowns, international experience on the board, and I go over how I feel about the team going into it. When it comes to the 4 major regions, I watched pretty much, I would say, all but 2 weeks worth of games. Well, about a week and a half, I was out of town. Otherwise, I watched all 4 major regions play. I feel like I have a good grasp on these 4 teams. When it came to smaller regions, it was more stat-oriented. That is what it is. You can't watch everybody. So, EG comes in here on an 11-1 streak. G2 went through playoffs 12-0, so both teams are hot. Really, really hot and confident, which is a big deal because both have a couple young players that need that in order to be successful at this tournament, I believe. And just so happens that they play each other in groups. So day one, somebody's going to lose and their hot streak's going to come to an end. Now, neither team is good in best of ones. They both struggled during the regular season in that way. And that's why in the playoffs they did well, because in a series format they succeed. EG, when they ran through the LCS, they beat TL in the finals in the shortest amount of time in LCS history. Now, why is that a big deal? Well, a lot of people are going to say LCS compared to the LEC stinks. And you know what? From, I would say, 3rd through 10th, you're right. 3rd through 10th is probably not as comparable to the LEC. But you are like off your rocker if you think TL is not a world-class team. I'm not saying a top 10 team, but a top 15 team. TL has solid players in every role and are a world-class team. So for EG to beat them 3-0 in quick fashion, especially when TL got up early in almost every game in bot lane, that's pretty damn incredible. And I feel like there needs to be a little bit more respect given to EG for this fact. I think if you overlook EG, they're going to beat you. And if you give them confidence, they're going to beat you, especially JoJo and Danny. Both coming in here very raw, inexperienced, and it can go one of 2 ways, I think. There is no middle ground, I feel like, with this team. Either it's going to come in here and it's going to do very well, or it's going to come in here and it's going to struggle. I don't think there's going to be a middle ground at all. The record may be a middle ground because they beat Order or whatever. And in the end, honestly, that's not going to be a big... what matters in groups is going to be how does EG and G2 fare. If they're even and they're close, then both teams are coming in here pretty good. But if one is off, just completely off, and they go, whatever, they win against Order both games, but then lose to the other, G2 or EG lose to the other in both games and need a tiebreaker to beat Order to get out of groups, I would say you had some troubles. So Coach Turtle comes from CB Lull. I know you guys obviously are going to love that. Most of my subscribers at the moment are CB Lull fans. Turtle has no international experience, so that is an issue. When push comes to shove, hopefully he has a good grasp on how to handle international play. Impact, one of the most experienced top laners in the world when it comes to international experience, one of the most experienced players in this tournament. He's been to international events 8 times, winning the World Championship in 2013 with SKT and Faker, now known as T1. So I have him 3rd. I went over this yesterday. There's a video on my channel, Impact versus Broken Blade, on their LCS games against each other. They played each other 18 times. I feel like they are very close and they both do different things, and it depends on what you want out of your top laner in regards to who you think is better for a tournament setting. In the current meta, I do like Impact more than Broken Blade. There's a reason why Broken Blade can't play Aurelia anymore and he's playing Ornn. So Impact's played 99 matches, good win rate, KDA's above 2. Obviously, if you haven't watched the other videos before, I'm counting assists as half, which is not normal KDA stats. 765, early on, his CS was better, but now that he's older, honestly, I think his CS has dropped due to that. I'm not going to say old men can't play or 26, 27-year-olds can't play. I'm just saying, as a factual thing, his 7.3 CS per minute in the last 2 international events is a bit concerning. Inspired, the opposite. Inspired is probably one of the best farmers in the world. He, outside of Canyon, honestly, and SFM, I would say Inspired's in that conversation as carry junglers, like one of the best. 5.81 CS per minute internationally, despite having a 29% win rate. He farms well. If they can get him on carry-oriented junglers, they have a chance. I feel like that is the role that's going to make a difference, G2 versus EG. If Inspired can get ahead and help JoJo, so JoJo does not end up, being gapped by Caps, they have a really good chance. That's the focus, is mid-jungle when it comes to EG, where G2 needs to help the bot lane, in my opinion. And they need to get ahead through bot to succeed. Because I'm going to tell you right now, this team, and other people have been saying it, and it's true, their team fighting is incredible. JoJo and Danny, have very high kill participation scores. And you're going to say, oh, well, what about compared to everybody else? JoJo and Danny are higher than the other 4 major regions players in kill participation. They get their nose in there. And their CS per minute, JoJo's is higher than Caps, Jiahu, and Faker. So, yes, against worse competition in the LCS, I'm going to say that. That's true. But the fact is, he gets his farm, he gets gold. You're going to have to gap him. And you're going to have to take him off his game when it comes to farming if you want to put him in a hole. And that's why Inspired needs to make sure that doesn't happen. And when it comes to Danny, Danny's CS per minute is only behind Guma's. And Danny is very, very good. They're both very aggressive young players. And, I'm from North America. Clear as day, obviously. You should figure that out by now. So I am rooting for this team. I'm not going to allow my bias to really show. They're third. I guess I have a little bit of bias over, having them over G2 when they're pretty close. I feel like it's flipping a coin. But I really want this team to do well. I want JoJo and Danny to do well. And like I said, it can go either one of 2 ways. Either they can suck or they can do really, really well. And, NA is proud. Vulcan has been to 3 international events. I have him as a 4th ranked support. But I do feel like those 48 international games against good players and not players in your region, you're against the best players in the world. Those matter than any split in whatever, when it comes to Western regions. Those 48 games are way more valuable than a spring split or a summer split in the LEC or LCS. Let's be real. Like, when you're playing against LPL and LCK players, you're playing against the best LEC players in the world, you're playing against the best of the best, those games matter more. And his KDA sucks in those. 1.65, 46% win rate. That's pretty good, especially given that he played on Clutch Gaming in 2019 when he went to Worlds the first time. I'm not going to lie, I don't think Vulcan's as good as Targamas on paper, and based on seeing them play, but can Targamas handle the moment? And you have to say to yourself, let's think, and I feel like this is, a low blow, but the Mad Lions squad that didn't make it out of play-ins, they didn't show up. And we can say, well, it was the COVID years, they didn't get any stage time and this and that. True, 100% true. But you also have to understand that young players, and this can happen to Danny and JoJo, I'm not just saying it can happen to only Targamas and Flackid, but young players have an opportunity, don't have an opportunity, but have the potential to struggle in an international event in a big moment. If the big lights kind of, when EG and G2 play tomorrow in their first game when they play against each other, if the big lights freak out Danny, JoJo, Flackid, or Targamas, that team is going to struggle and they're going to lose that game. And maybe the next time around, it's fixed because they're like, okay, we're settling in. We know we can handle this moment now. But at first, there might be troubles. And you have to acknowledge it. You got to respect it. I feel like people overlook that, but it's a thing. So, and I think 48 games of experience is going to really help in the bot lane for Vulcan. And I think 99 games of experience out of Impact is going to help this whole team. Just like Caps and Yankos is going to help G2 try and stay calm, collected, and play their game. And I also think about NA, I didn't mention it. You know, there are 3 NA players on this team, and they beat the team of imports in the LCS. You know, you can't say this doesn't have NA players in it. JoJo, Danny, Vulcan. Obviously, G2 has, European players on it. But their coach is North American. So, just a funny little tidbit I'd like to throw in there. There's another NA individual at this event, and he happens to be the coach of G2. So, at least that's what I believe. Dylan Falco is Canadian. So, I mean, I really hope this team does well. Obviously, I'm not going to lie. I'm not a liar. I want this team to do well. If it doesn't, it's going to suck. But at the same time, I am happy that they're here. And I'm happy that NA actually has some players at an international event. It's a big deal. If you like this sort of video, comment down below your opinion on EG. How do you think they're going to do? Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel for daily content. Like I said, I've been doing videos throughout this process. Stay tuned later today. I'm going to have my mid-lane ranking video out. You should already have an idea of where everybody is ranked because I've been putting up their ranking on every board thus far. I'm going to include their 3 most played champions and kind of give a vibe based on that, how each player is. It's going to be a lot like the jungle one yesterday compared to top lane. Top lane was a little more interesting because players have more of a variance of champions they like to play, whereas jungle is pretty straightforward and mid lane is also pretty straightforward. So stay tuned for that. Like the video, like I said, and thank you for watching.